if you want to watch a great game, again, because he watches every game, go watch Syracuse Miami. Like down 21-0, Kyle. Like that game, like just watching it on coach's tape was still entertaining to me. And watching you bring the Orangemen back in that game, that had to be a big day for you. Like just, in all the games that you played, your whole career, Ohio State, Syracuse, whatever, that had to be a big day for you.
Yeah, and that was fun. It was a great way to end off the season. And then that put us in a position to get 10 wins with our bowl game too, which hasn't happened around here in a while. And so I've never been on the right side of the fans storming the field. Every time the fans storm the field is because we lost at Ohio State. So to finish the regular season out like that and knock off a top 10 team down 21, it was pretty sweet.
Well, let's go back. Let's begin with your whole journey. What's this whole thing been like for you? Coming out of the prep, which we love, right? And then the whole Ohio State thing, and then Syracuse. And what I love about you, besides your ability, is you're such a pro. Like you just go in and you just play quarterback. You don't get lost in all the nonsense and everything else. What's it been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride. Like you said, went to prep, which was a little bit of a culture shock for me growing up and going to public school and then wearing a sports coat and, tying your tie every day in the morning. So it was definitely a little bit of a culture shock. But I mean, it's been crazy to see where football has taken me, and obviously wild ride in college going from Ohio State to Syracuse. But I feel like going through that and handling that adversity definitely prepared me for this next level, because I mean there's never been a great player that hasn't gone through adversity, so to go through that at that point in my career I think has definitely prepared me for this next step that I'm about to embark in.
Refresh me here, Kyle, because I know you and Marvin Harrison were at the prep together, right? Did you come out the same year, or is he a year older?
No, we're in the same class.
Class, right?
Yeah, it was
so
a little
you go
unfair.
to Ohio State together.
Yeah.
So, like, were you like roommates at Ohio State? Did you?
Yep.
You were.
Yeah, all that. So, I mean, we pretty much spent so we went to our rival school. We went to LaSalle our freshman year.
Yeah.
And my first memory of Marvin, we were playing them. He started as a freshman at LaSalle. I didn't start, and I'm on the sideline. They had the ball, I think, at the 10-yard line. Like I'm sure go find the clip somewhere. But they threw an interception in the end zone. And our safety, who ended up going D1, picked the ball up, and he's run down the sideline. It's gonna be like a 105-yard pick six. And Marvin from the other side of the field, kind of like the DK Metcalf clip from against the Cardinals, tracked him down right in front of me. I said, "Damn!" Like that was my first impression of him. And then fast forward a few months later, he ended up transferring to the prep with me. So we spent 6 years together, 3 in high school, 3 in college.
Wow.
So that's a really close friend of mine.
That's awesome. That's a great story. What did you learn from Ohio State and the whole situation?
I mean, Ohio State is about as close as an NFL organization as you can get at the college level, just in terms of expectation and the talent you're around in practice and just the whole operation. I mean, it's pretty much an NFL program. And so going through that, and to be honest, that was really the first big adversity that I've had to face leaving Ohio State. And so, I'm extremely thankful for my 3 years there, and I feel like I obviously got a lot better in my time there. And I don't think I would have had the year I had last year if it wasn't for everything that I learned at Ohio State. So, definitely not the way when you first get there, you envision it going. But I'm super thankful that it played out the way it did.
Well, I mean,
guys,
how about that year? Baldy, how about that year, right? I mean, the year that he had at Syracuse, my God, Baldy, you went in and you were like, listen, I'm going to go in and I'm going to show them what I got, and we're going to win games, and our offense is going to move. And I loved your attitude, man. You had a great attitude for the whole thing. It felt like you enjoyed yourself too.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, especially when you're going in each game, though, and you're going to throw it at least 40 times. It's fun. I mean, the success of the offense kind of relies on your shoulders. And so it was a big responsibility carrying that week in and week out, but it was fun. I mean, going in knowing that we were going to air it out and test the defense regardless of who we were playing, and had some great talent around me and great coaches. So it was a fun year. And then being from the East Coast, kind of putting Syracuse back on the map and getting a 10-win season, finishing top 25, all that. It was rewarding.
Tell us a little bit, Kyle, right now, like the process that you're in. Like I'm heading to a bunch of pro days for the NFL right now, Kyle. Like I'm going to see Cam Ward next week at Miami. I'm going to go out to Colorado, Penn State. So did you already have your pro day?
Coming up on Monday.
Coming up Monday, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. Tell us a little bit about the preparation for that, Kyle, what your anticipation of that day is going to be like. I know you're at the combine, but tell us a little bit about the preparation for these pro days, what you anticipate, what you want to show that you haven't already shown.
Yeah, I think obviously went through the All-Star game circuit at the Shrine Bowl. Felt like I did a good job there. Went through the combine, felt like I did a good job there. So I think it's just continuing to stack, good showings, and whether it's in a game setting like the All-Star game was, and you're doing 11-on-11 practices, or the combine where you're throwing to guys you don't know. So now I think, you're familiar with the receivers, and I just want to let it rip and, show that I can make every throw, do some under the center stuff, which obviously at the college level, it's far and between now and not a lot of guys are under center too much. So doing some, 5-step, 7-step drops from under center and just showing my versatility as a quarterback.
What was the combine experience like for you? And what was the craziest questions? Like, I know you're spending hours and they're just probing it. What was it like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think people see what happens on TV, just the workout, but they don't know you're there for 5 whole days, going through interviews and media and medical stuff. Like, it's definitely a long week and it's a grind, but the workout's definitely the most fun part of it. Probably the craziest, I wouldn't say question, but the craziest interview I had, I sat down with one team and they pulled up my film. And the first play was a misread, like a guy opening the flat, and I tried to force it downfield. And so I'm like, all right. And so, was like, yeah, I should have thrown in the flat. Next play, interception. And I'm like, okay, I think I see where this is going. And then they go to the third play, another interception. So it was funny. I mean, as much as you would like to watch the highlights, I definitely think that, teams are going to try to see how you react when they're pulling up your low lights. So it was funny. And then as soon as the meeting ended, they're like, oh, great job. We love that. And so it's funny just kind of seeing the different teams' approaches in those interviews.
Yeah, because they're like little minefields, It's like,
yeah.
let me try to get under his skin and let me see how he reacts to it. And you can't. That's brilliant. Listen, that's the way you're supposed to handle it, which is, I should have made this read here. I know my mistake. I'm not going to make that mistake happen again.
Yeah, no, they definitely, some of the teams, they try to set you up. Like I threw a boneheaded interception. Like it was nobody's fault except mine. And they're like, yeah, it's probably on the receiver, don't you think? Like he could have taken it a little higher. He could have caught that and fought for the ball. And I'm like, nah, like shouldn't even thrown it. So it was funny just to kind of see, the.
Oh,
did we lose him?
Yeah, hang tight, Baldy. We'll get him right back.
Yeah, here he goes.
There we go.
Yeah,
you're good, Kyle.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, no, but they definitely try to set you up and see if you'll throw any of your teammates under the bus. Which I mean, that's never the right move.
Funny about that, Kyle. That story is I remember when Matt Ryan came out of Boston College. He threw like 19 interceptions his last year at Boston College.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back then, he was obviously, high pick of the Falcons and turned the whole franchise around. But I remember I was doing his preseason games in Atlanta. And so, anyways, I'm like in the gym one day. I got the game at night, and it's a Boston College game, like against Clemson or something. And he threw this interception in the end zone, right? So, anyways, I see him on the field later that day. And I go, Matt, I was just watching you on ESPN, classic game and everything. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, which one? I go, it's against Clemson. He goes, well, they show that interception in the end zone. I go, like, it's unbelievable how that you remember those plays. It's almost like you remember the bad ones as much as you remember all the good ones, like the bad throw. Like it never really leaves you, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing too. Like as a young guy, I feel like as bad as it is, like the best way to learn is to make that mistake. Like
Yeah.
the best way to learn is to, try to force a, a hole shot against cover two and get picked off by the safety to know, like, you can't throw that late. And
Yeah.
I feel like when you make that mistake, it's like, okay, like you kind of know your boundaries. And so the mistakes definitely last with you. And, but as long as you learn from them and you don't make the same mistake twice, I feel like there's positive in it.
How much chalk stuff did they do with you at the
A good
combine?
amount. A lot of the teams, kind of how they would set up their interviews. They would start out by installing one of their plays and their terminology, going through the read, the footwork, the progression, the protection, all that. And then you go through the whole meeting, whether it's 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. And now they're starting to do Zooms, which are an hour. And so they go through watching some of their film, some of your film, you're talking through your plays and your protections. And at the very end of the meeting, they're like, okay, draw up that play that we installed to you. So just having that recall and, definitely take some practice beforehand. So that's what I was doing with my quarterback coach, Jordan Palmer, going through some of that mock interview stuff. But yeah, I mean, they definitely try to put you on the spot.
What's it like working with Jordan? Because he's obviously worked with a lot of guys like yourself here, Kyle, coming out of college. Like he's one of the gurus out there. Like, what have you learned from Jordan right here in this process?
He's been great. So I met him at the Elite 11 going into my senior year. So I was
Yeah.
young, and then we kind of just stayed in contact all throughout school, all throughout college. And then around this time last year, going into my year at Syracuse, he hit me up and he was like, I'd love to do a year-long program with you. I feel like, obviously you had a good year at Ohio State, but we can take it to the next level. So I did that, went out and worked out with him a bunch. And then just throughout the season, he would break down all my film and just kind of give me reminders and stuff to think about. And so I owe a lot of my success last year to the work that we put in with him, and obviously carrying it over the draft process. It's like the more you're around him, the more you realize there's so much football to know. And so just diving down, kind of nerding out over the mechanics and the details of the physical part of playing quarterback, but then also the mental part. I mean, he's been around a lot of high level football, high level guys, and so just being around him, you have no option but to just soak up a lot of information.
When did you know that this is for you? And your father, Derek, is what a great guy and great athlete himself. And I know I can only imagine how often that you guys worked together as when you were a kid.
Yeah.
When did you see this path?
I always loved football. Like I grew up a huge NFL fan, even when I was young. So this was always my dream and my goal. But I would say probably seventh grade, I knew that I'd have a chance to be pretty good. I went to a University of Michigan camp, like a quarterback camp, as a seventh grader, and kind of snuck around the rules. It was just for high school kids. And, I finessed my way in there as a 13, 14-year-old, whatever I was. And you're throwing around all, high recruited 4-star, 5-star guys. And, I was holding my own, throwing with them. So from a young age, I knew I was going to be pretty good. And then, once you kind of get a little bit of a sense that you'll be good, I think it makes you want to go even harder, knowing that you're going to have an opportunity to play.
Kyle, I'm curious. I mean, you were there with CJ Stroud, and CJ hit the ground running in the NFL like right away. We saw it. And the thing that, and this is a difficult thing because I don't know how, as an analyst, we can get inside your head and inside the football brain of a quarterback. But it's all about processing, right? And how quickly you can process. Everybody wants the arm. Everybody wants the physical stature. You have all that. But I'm curious about how you become a processor. Like Brock Purdy had it. They didn't know it. That's why he was a 7th-round pick. But how do you establish it? Is it just by doing it, Kyle? Is it something that you actually can get better at? Because the one thing that CJ, Jaden did this year, they hit the NFL field running, being able to process. And it's just a fascinating thing to anybody that's trying to evaluate quarterbacks. Can they do this, or are they going to struggle with this?
Yeah, no, 100%. And being behind CJ for 2 years was awesome, and he was very open with his process throughout the week and how he'd prepare and, how he read certain plays against certain coverages. And I think, in my opinion, his best trait is just the ability to see the whole field. And he's had that talent since, I got there, and he was, going to his second year of college. But, for me, I think just seeing him being able to see everything, see both safeties, see the corner, read body language. I think that was one thing that was really impressive to me. And, just being under him, like the one thing I realized is like on paper, it's not always perfect, and, a certain route shouldn't always work versus certain coverage. But, if you have leverage or, guy's body language is telling him, he's going to be open, being able to just, trust your eyes and rip it. So that was one thing that I really admired about his game, is just being able to trust his eyes and go out and, just, play free and just rip the ball and trust what you see.
When did you start breaking down film? Like your assessment of the game, like Baldy, I mean, you listen to him talk, you watch him play, it's so next level, right? When did you start to really nerd out over the X's and O's and really dive into film?
I would say probably high school. Middle school, you're really playing because it's just fun and you're not really watching film throughout the week. And then high school, you slowly, become more adapted to watching film throughout the week. And then once I became the starter my sophomore year, that's really when I started to kind of nerd out over it and try to get a head start over the defenses you're playing. That way you can play a step ahead. And then, kind of by trial and error too. Like you don't want to watch too much film. Like I went to the Manning camp this summer, and Peyton Manning, so that was one thing he did his rookie years. He just watched too much film and he got on the field. He's overanalyzing everything. So just knowing what you need to watch. And then at the same time, knowing that when you step on the field, like you just have to, like I was just saying, just trust your eyes and trust your instinct and let it rip. And so just having that balance. And so I think, my first year, you kind of were learned by trial and error. And then this last year, you know exactly what you need to do throughout the week to get your mind ready.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm fascinated by it. Like your advancement is it's so interesting. I told you before. So my little one is in 6th grade, and he's got monster hair. He works out with a prep ball, right? Because Charlie, this is what I love, Baldy. So Charlie Falk, who is the quarterback at the prep now, Kyle mentored him. Like Charlie talks about Kyle, like, oh my God, like, and then I'm watching Charlie with Massimo. And like that thing that you guys had at the prep, and I think just as a quarterback thing, is special. Like that kid looks up to you, and you showed him such great love and respect.
Yeah, no, I definitely see a lot of myself in him, because I mean he started as a sophomore this year and went on to win a state title. And so being kind of a younger guy with a lot of talent, and you know how it is playing at the prep, like there's a lot of expectation. And so it's definitely cool kind of seeing the next generation and a little bit of a reflection of yourself taking over.
So what's from now to the draft, what's your life going to be like?
A lot of meetings, still doing some, pro day prep these next few days, going over the script with the guys. And then after pro day, it's pretty much, meeting with, any team that, wants to hop on a Zoom or come visit me and do private workouts and stuff like that. And then just training, obviously it's a little bit of a weird time because you're not on a team. Like you don't necessarily know, what scheme you'll be in and, who you'll be throwing to. So just getting ready. And then that way, when you do know and you get that call, come the draft, you can hit the ground running.
Do you pay attention to any of the draft stuff? Like, especially today, it's ridiculous. It's all over the place. Right?
Yeah.
And this guy, that guy, he's projected in this round. Do you just completely shut all that out?
I mean, I'm the one getting drafted, and I have no idea where I'm going. So it's like, how can anybody else have a better idea of this? So, it's kind of impossible not to see it. Your buddies saying, "Oh, they got you going in this round of this team." It's like I have no idea where I'm going. So, I don't put too much stock into that at all now.
Yeah, good.
I kind of hope, Kyle, no matter where you go, I kind of hope that you get like a real redshirt year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like we see guys, a Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, every once in a while, a guy just CJ. I almost feel like just knowing Patrick Mahomes and the fact that he got a chance to sit the whole first year and just absorb it, see it, because the playbook is so different, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see, I mean, even if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to give you a 2-high shell every play, and you're not going to know what the coverage is to the snap. Like just the difference at the NFL level and how big the playbook can be. I almost feel like every young quarterback should get that chance just to watch and
Right.
learn. I hope that kind of happens for you.